Welcome to Witchy Talk. I'm Nicola Robinson, coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. And here we're crossing space, time, and dimensions to connect with my beautiful soul sister and friend, Sophia, using the magical realm of the internet to cross time zones and be in the present moment with each other. Welcome, Sophia.
Hola, my friends from the desert Southwest here in the lovely state of Arizona. Sending some sunshine love this midnight hour, catching up where the only time is right now. And thank you for plugging in tonight and connecting with us so we can build this connection.
Let's roll.
And we are creating something beautiful and great. And it's such a blessing to have the opportunity to spend this time with you and to share this with the community, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm really this connection that we've built over the last few years has been, yeah, well, has it been over a year, right? A year and a half,
Been a
maybe.
little over a year,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Um,
last June maybe or
yeah,
last March or something.
for sure.
I do plan to visit New Zealand at some point and so it is. But yeah, maybe it just helped to speed up that process a little, huh?
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
set it in its time and place.
It really opens the doors to more travel, especially all this like online learning that, I've been doing, that we were in a container together. It just kind of really you can meet, and I've got people that I love and adore that I haven't like met, have never met in person, and it's a crazy concept, right? And yeah, I think in my nana's days, they had pen pals and things like that, right? You could like find someone in the newspaper and they would be your pen pal or something like that. And they never met before, but they wrote to each other.
Yes. Did you participate in something as such?
I feel like I kind of did when I was in primary school. We were encouraged to have a pen pal. I don't know how they organized it, but I do remember writing, or maybe, yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't remember so much of my childhood.
Mm.
I don't remember much. I don't remember much. And my brother, he's younger than me, and he'll talk about things, and I'll be like, really? That happened? And he remembers so much. And I'm just like, well, I was like, was I there? All these things he's talking about. He's like, yeah, you were there.
Really?
Yeah. He was talking about when we visited Australia. It was his birthday last week or the week. Yeah, and he had a party, and he was talking about when we visited Australia when we were younger, and we went to a restaurant, and um we got a free meal because a giant cockroach flew into the restaurant and was flying around and attempting to land on people's plates of food. And he vividly remembers getting up and like catching it, and all the people are freaking out. Adults are like terrified of this cockroach, and he's like 7 or whatever, and he's like runs over and catches it and takes it out. And I have like no memory of this at all, like none whatsoever. I couldn't even like try to. I am trying to visualize it now, right? But it's not from a memory. I'm trying to make it up because he explained it so vividly. I'm like, well, I must have been there because it was our holiday. We were all there together, and I remember being there, and I remember that trip, but I don't remember that part of that trip.
Do you think maybe perhaps it's like one of those things you don't want to remember?
Yeah, oh, well, yeah, I don't remember ever being scared of
Like as
bugs
far
or
as
anything
a
like that.
cockroach or
Yeah, I don't remember being scared of bugs or anything. I do remember that trip. We also, my parents, we were staying in a hotel that had a casino attached to it, and we stayed in our room, and they were downstairs in the casino and had dinner, and we were just supposed to stay in our room and watch a movie, or there was like a kids area that you could go and play in. But my brother and I thought it would be more fun to play in the lifts and the elevators and like go in and push all the buttons and ride the lifts up and down.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness.
yeah, until we like got out on a level and there was like a security guard like charging towards us. We just like turned and ran for our lives. And then there was another security guard on the other side. It like cornered us. And so our parents had to be called over the PA system. How embarrassing for them to come and collect us. So I remember that. That was from the same trip, but I don't remember the cockroach in the restaurant.
Oh my goodness. You think they had realized like you're the kids messing with this elevator.
Yeah, they seen it. Yeah, because we were like, oh, fuck, there's security. I think the next day when we went out, we were looking and we're like, fuck, there's security cameras everywhere. How did we not notice? Some security guy would have been sitting in his little office being like, these kids are running around everywhere and now they're in this lift. And he would have been watching us like run our hands down all the buttons and like push all the buttons and like run out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. So my dad and my brother actually have the same birthday. Born on the same.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy, eh?
That's wild. Yeah,
It is.
I remember you saying you were celebrating both of their birthdays, but I didn't realize they had the same birthday.
Crazy, eh? Like there's some kind of like past life, like timeline coming back together with them. I feel like there's something like that with them being, and they clash a lot, and but they get on really well as well. So there's like a dynamic there that is, yeah, really interesting to witness.
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds like the relationship between my birth mother and I.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's like I love her dearly, but I left home really young. I
mm,
had just turned 14, and so I didn't really have like the mother-daughter relationship with her.
mm,
And so we're developing that now, like over the last um few years. In the last couple of years, we've gotten closer, and we have like we'll spend a weekend together and we have a lot of fun and we laugh and we both love music and we like to dance, and then it's like shit just hits the wall. It's like, what?
yeah.
Okay, yes, you've stayed a weekend. It's time for you to go home. We'll catch up later type
Yeah.
deal, you know?
Yes.
So maybe similarities perhaps. I
Mm,
don't know, but it's been interesting,
mm.
to develop that relationship, as an adult.
It's the
But
dynamic though, isn't it, with your mom, or like it's just that you can see yourself becoming them. Well, I can with my mum anyway, and I know that friends have said that about their parents as well. And and I'm like, I mean, it's not a bad thing, and I love my mum, but I don't want to be my mum.
yeah,
And I feel bad to say that I don't want to turn into my mom because she's not a bad person and she's lovely, and kind and caring and she's a really beautiful soul. But I'm like, I don't want to. I don't
yeah.
want to. Yeah. But
I
mm,
mean, well, recognizing that, right? I mean, when we talk about, you know, us crossing paths, at this time in this place, this
mm,
time, right?
mm,
You know, we look at past lives, or actually was thinking about this a lot today, and where we're at, and the choice, right? Like I've been reflecting a lot on, well, let's just say over the last month, we're in a super blue moon.
mm,
Comes every once in a blue moon, right? So
mm,
like looking back to the beginning of this month, to mid-month with a new moon, to again a full moon, and just really thinking about a lot of um, things that have, I guess, transpired over the last probably 8 months or a year, and thinking about, situations and people, whether it be friends, colleagues, acquaintances, family that have come in and out of my life, or in my life and back in my life,
Mm,
for that time, right? For its reason,
mm,
right? And somewhere I think being a choice, I don't understand it fully yet,
mm.
but somewhere being a choice as to why I chose my mother, and what, the reasons behind that and the lessons that have come with that. And in some regard, a choice that was made, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, the choice to choose your parents and the time that you come here and the time that you arrive and the day
Yeah.
and everything that you're born, right? And it's taking the lesson of why did I choose my parents and why did I choose this time and this place? And it's such a big thing to look at, right?
Oh, for sure.
Mm,
Well,
diff-
I've been thinking a lot about that lately, with a lot of,
mm,
well, I guess things that have just come into perspective and clarity, um, a lot of light bulb moments,
mm,
and not only like, spending time with my mom, like, hey, we have a good time, and then it's like, okay, yeah, we're getting on each other's nerves. So
mm,
what am I seeing here, right? And I talk about this. I was talking to, with one of my aunts, with my grandmother, who um essentially raised me, and and looking at her now. She's older. She's 87, and looking at a lot of the bitterness and resentment and, traumas that she's held on to from her childhood,
yeah.
and how it's affected her, now as an older woman. I look at that,
Mm,
and it's like, I don't want to be that, right? you know and it's not saying her core person, because going back to her childhood, she was orphaned really young, and she saw a lot of trauma, and it's not my story to tell, but looking at what she has gone through from what I've seen, and the choices we make, it's like, okay, yeah, if I have her in my life as a grandmother, right, and I'm here, planet Earth, this is where I'm stationed now for having this human experience. What am I to see from this, right?
mm,
Whether it be something I need to work through or realize or
yeah.
grow from, or say, okay, I don't want to be that, or hey, I've grown from that, or ooh, I know how that feels,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely. And it's like it's that mirroring of their their traits, and it's that subconscious passing down of mannerisms and of the way you deal with things, because that is how you were taught as a little one, to deal with things, and mirroring that. But I've noticed that to the point where you can, and I've noticed this with my mum, come up with like on your skin, like bumps and raised, not skin tags, but like my mum has on the inner of her eye, on the bridge of her nose, like a raised bump. And it's part of the skin. And then I've noticed that I've started to develop it in the same spot. And I'm like, what is that imprint in, the DNA that is being passed down? And if you can pass that down, then that is these other traits that we have for high cholesterol and other things, that we know that there are these DNA markers that we get passed down from our parents.
Mm, mm,
But then these energetic markers that are passed down that you can't see and that you can't do tests for. It's like these
right.
energetic markers, right? Like what you were saying with your grandma, how you can see how she has carried guilt and resentment or shame or whatever, and you can see it materialize on the face or on the body, and
Yeah.
how the body is being held, or how the fist is being constantly clenched, or just different things. And I really noticed on my mum recently, and it was the weirdest experience. But I've been feeling a lot of sorrow recently and processing through that. And I noticed myself, we have jigsaw puzzles that we do, and I was just sitting there doing a jigsaw puzzle, and memories pop into your head, and you ruminate on shit and you try and let it go and stuff. And my mind wanted to ruminate, so I let it do its thing for a bit, and
Mm, mm.
if I can do your best, and let's see what I need to work on next. Sure, off you go. And
I
and then
totally get that.
yeah, you're like, what have you got to show me now? You're gonna go in a negative spiral. Come on, let's run with it for a little bit, and then we'll pull ourselves up on it, and then we'll work on it, right? And so
Yes.
I was in that for a bit, and I was doing the puzzle, and I could feel myself holding my mouth, like in this really like downturned, sad kind of way, and I was very stagnant and just really like there was no life in that area. And then I kind of had this visual, and it kind of in my mind, I could see myself and I could see my mum, and we like overlapped in my mind, and I could see all the wrinkles and all the lines that she has around her mouth were in the same way that I was holding my mouth. Oh my God, did I snap out of that pretty fast? I snapped out of that so fucking quick, you would
Oh
not
my
believe.
gosh.
It was
I
fucking
bet.
trippy. It was so visual in my mind. I could see it, and um so, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna form those, and but that is where mum's, that is where that comes from. It's that sorrow. And then I really felt for my mum in that moment as well. So yeah, it's understanding the patterns, and then having empathy when you kind of have those realizations, right?
That's absolutely right. And yeah, I can relate. I had a similar experience with my mom, and I understand a lot of her past, and well, that's for another conversation. But I've always had, I think I've been pretty empathetic towards that, and a little more understanding and gracious in that regard, because of a lot of the things that she um, inherited. And I say that it really clicked for me probably about 2 years ago. Things just, the puzzle pieces coming together, right? In that sense of understanding that it was a generational thing, from her mother, from her mother's mother, and realizing these things and starting to understand what was going on. It was like, okay, this is where the choice comes in. I'm understanding why, you know, I chose my mother. I was born from trauma, right?
Mm.
I had, this had been carried to me, right? And and maybe you would think, oh, why would someone choose this? Why would I put myself in this position or these situations? Well, yeah, to grow and to learn, and ultimately reach that, next state of consciousness, and evolve and continue growing. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the lessons along the way. But seeing her in that instance, I took her to a show and it was like kind of that side profile. And I was like, and I was looking at her, but I was looking at me, and it was kind of one of those things like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
snap out of it, right?
it's quite confronting, right? It's
Yeah,
quite
because
confronting.
you're looking at yourself in the mirror, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it is that mirror. And so,
Mm,
when I look at things, it's like, okay, what am I seeing from this, right? And then either like store it, okay, I'm gonna either resonate or think about this for a while and go down that hole.
mm,
Okay, so we'll entertain this, and we're going down there, and maybe I'll have that light bulb moment or something really sticks out, and it's like, whoo, and sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna step back,
yep. Yeah. Might
snap
not
out
be.
of it. I'm gonna have my tea. I'm gonna go into another zone and work
Mm,
on my picture or my puzzle or whatever it is I'm doing,
mm,
because we can go there. And sometimes I just allow myself to go there because it's like, okay, I'm feeling adventurous tonight. Where are we going with this, right?
sure. For sure. And like you say, you store it for later. You store it for when it's you kind of like yeah, you park it for a bit because maybe it needs a little bit more realization to come up about it. Maybe there's something, another piece of the puzzle, another aha moment that'll come, and then you can look at it and you can think, I've got this new moon coming up, this blue moon, there's different things coming up, there's Lionsgate, or there's this and that. I want to use this portal. All of this is coming into my awareness for a reason. In 2 weeks, there's this portal. I'm going to sit on this. I'm going to let it, I'm going to question my guides. I'm going to question the universe. I'm going to journal around it, and I'm going to see what comes up around it. And then leading into whatever this transformational, gate or time or moon is, allow that process to kind of like unfold, and whatever ritual or whatever process you end up doing, dancing in the rain to release it, or if you do a candle ritual, or if you, yeah, just sit and meditate on it, right? But it's allowing it, not forcing it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, everything in its time, right? I mean, it's that divine timing. It's like it might have been a meditation or a prayer that perhaps I did 17 years ago, and here I am. And then you feel that rushing warmth and cleansing energy that's like, wow,
Yeah.
it takes me back to that
Mm,
time, and it's everything in its time and in its place. And for me, developing this relationship with my mom, and I just turned 40,
mm,
really at a later time, and us not having that mother-daughter relationship, so to say. We have it in a different way. And
mm,
so, there's really been like no expectation of having or establishing, or in a sense reestablishing that. It just is what it is. And that in itself has been beautiful. It's just really helped me with living in the moment to some regard,
yeah.
and accepting it for what it is now.
Mm,
And then too, finding that healing for myself, in other ways that maybe I've known that I needed healing from, but realize when it's happening that it's quite beautiful because it is in this time, and maybe I where I need it and where it fits.
yeah. Totally. And like you say, you can know that you have healing in an area or need it in an area, but if there's no awareness of like what it is specifically, and sometimes you don't need to know the specifics of it. It's just feeling and releasing the emotion can be enough, right? But it's having the vulnerability to go into it. And I like to think that when we kind of are setting an intention, or like you say, it could have been like a surrendering from like 10, 15, years ago, and it's
Yeah.
just it's just coming about now because it took you that long for the magic to work, for you to to be in a state where you're actually ready to deal with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, there's so much learning that we constantly evolving and learning about ourselves and the world around us and how we engage with other people and how other people engage with us is that reflection, right? So it can take it, and because the mind and the ego can be so resistant to the fucking change because it thinks it's protecting us, but it's just fucking keeping us in a hole. you
You
know
know, and that's totally it, man. I
mm,
mean, whether we resist consciously or subconsciously or just going with what we know or whatever habits
mm,
we formed or
mm,
choosing to deal by not dealing with it, right?
yeah, yeah, and that's still taking action by not doing any. Even inaction is still action because you're still making a decision to not do anything, right?
Absolutely.
Like you're still making a choice. Yeah, which is, yeah, kind of crazy to get around.
But one thing I'm so thankful for, and I feel like, oh, I've graduated, I'm up leveling in the sense that I can recognize it when it's
Yes.
happening. And like I'm learning to just like I'm always like so serious, man. And my thing has been like I'm going to laugh more, right? And
Yeah.
find the laughter and the joy in it and just have a chuckle with myself. Oh fuck, Sophia, here we are again. Oh, it's like
Exactly. Right. We're looking at this again, really? Yeah. Right.
but this time I'm actually looking at it,
Mm,
and it's like so I found myself yesterday evening just stewing on some things that have come about. I mean, just I've had a lot of creative energy and I'm over here and I'm over there and I found myself in front of the mirror.
yeah. Yeah.
I had my little headlamp on. I was outside and I do a lot of my gardening and stuff. And so I've been cleaning up around here and because we're moving from summer to fall and
Mm,
you know, everything just got scorched. We've had I live in a desert, so it's really hot.
mm,
And I expect that, but if we have a really cold winter, I can pretty much see I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a really hot summer, and it was mild, and then it just hit like it spiked from like 80 to like 116.
mm.
Freaking hot for like the last 2 months, like scorching hot. I mean, you talk about full sun. And so my backyard garden space is like full sun all day. And so a lot of my plants, they got scorched, and I kind of just let nature do its thing because it's going to do it anyhow.
Yeah.
And so I've been cleaning up, and we had a dust storm come in, and I could feel the dust on my skin and on my face. And
Easy.
um, I
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna come in and clean up and just refresh a little bit. I like to have some tea in the evening, and I look up and I see like spots in the mirror, right? Like from me, like washing my face or my hands in water spots, and I'm like, I can't see so clear through this mirror. So here I am. I'm like, I'm gonna leave the light off and just have the dimness of my headlamp. And I sat it down, and it had this nice glow, and so I'm in this sense, you know, practicing scrying right in the mirror and seeing these spots that need to be cleaned off and wiped away and then how to go back, and then
Mhm.
it's like this residue, and then I noticed that I started to become like real nitpicky, right? Because I'm seeing like little pieces of lint or maybe a streak,
Mm,
that I needed to go back and clean off so I could see a little bit better,
yeah.
and so that's life, right? We're going back to the mirror and looking at ourselves, right? And growing, or maybe taking an extra moment to pause and really look,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
And so that's where I found myself, um last night, and so I sat with that for a while, and found myself reflecting afterwards as to where I am now, 2023, and
Mm,
some of it has often come in cycles, but coming back to the time and the space, and
mm,
um really I've been working on forgiveness, and I'd like to say I'd like to think I'm a forgiving person. Now, if I forget, that might be another thing. I have this really intense um, memory that can go back for years in detail.
mm. Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, some things I remember, some things maybe I want to forget, but again, what is the lesson in that? Or, why am I remembering it? Why is it coming up again? What am I working through? Maybe something I thought I had worked through, but maybe didn't really fully. Maybe there's
Yes.
still something there yet to grasp. So
It's the
I'll
different
take it.
layers of it, isn't it, though? Like
Yeah.
say with the mirror, like with the streaks and stuff, it's like you feel like you have clarity on something of maybe a pattern that you keep repeating, and maybe you do get clarity in the moment when you learn a lesson. But then maybe a similar situation happens again and you had the clarity, and but it doesn't take as long for you to notice yourself, right? It's about
Yeah.
noticing yourself in the moments, because when things like that happen in the external, we go into autopilot and then we play out the
Mm.
same patterns again, right? So it's like cleaning off that mirror so we can see the situation for what it is, and then we don't go into autopilot, or we notice when we're going into the pattern and we're repeating the same things, or we're reacting in the same way. But like you say, like you look in the mirror and you look at our reflection, like quite often we know we are looking at ourselves, but we're avoiding our reflection, right? We look in the mirror to do our hair and makeup and check things and whatever, and we see ourselves, but we don't at the same time, right? We avoid our reflection sometimes, even if you're looking straight at it. So I've done a bit of mirror work recently as well, with different doing meditations and things like that, and my mirrors get so dusty in my room. I don't know what it is about my room. I think it's the blankets that I have, and then having a cat or whatever, and they just get so dusty. So quite often I'm like, and then you got candles going and you're looking at it through the dust and you're like, man, I just feel like I just don't even know myself. Or like, you've been doing like a few hours of meditation and ritual, and you've done some oracle cards, and you're in a little bit of a spaced out zone. And then you're like, oh, I need to clean this mirror off. There's so much dust. I can't even see
Yeah.
myself. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get that clarity. And yeah. But it is a spiral, right? Of this, like you say, of it's like relearning different situations that you constantly have to come back to. And it's like we have to constantly come back to them, but we learn new things, that the lesson reappears because you can look at it through a new lens and you can get to a deeper part of it, and so it's not having resistance when the situation comes up again and greeting it as an old friend. And you're like, what part of this are you going to teach me today? It's like revealing a different part of the demon, right? Like, am I going to get your
Yes.
arm today, or how much of your body am I going to see today? How much are we revealing this time round?
That's exactly how I looked at it. I was like, ooh, digging into some, demons here.
Yeah,
What are we unpacking, right?
for sure. And forgiveness is, especially self-forgiveness, is really hard, right? Because we're so hard on ourselves. And Yeah.
Totally.
So the forgiveness piece is just such a big, so it really is the only way to let go and move forward if it's forgiving. And that it's okay to allow yourself to be softer and in the feminine and in the flow of the feminine as well, right? Which has been shut down so much. Just patriarchy and society and the go 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 nature, and that's where I have exhausted myself, and that's where
Oh,
my
for sure.
like adrenal fatigue, nervous breakdown all happened recently, is because I just pushed myself so far and constantly to achieve. And I was resting in those times, but I was like, I think, what was it you that we were talking about this? It was like active resting, where you're like, you think you're relaxing, but you're actually still doing shit. Like, yeah, I'm totally
Yeah.
relaxing. I'm lying on my bed, but I'm on my phone doing like five different things. Like trying to like write a bio for a website, and then I'm also like texting two different people, and then I'm like sharing memes also with someone else on another platform. I'm so totally relaxing right now. I think it's different. Like my body was relaxing in that moment, but my mind wasn't relaxing in that moment,
That's
right?
the
So
thing. Yeah, it's our mind, man.
yeah, totally. And that's where get caught up in it and you trick yourself. Try and trick yourself. Yeah. The multitasking.
And
Mm.
yeah, and what is the need to, I wouldn't even say a need to do that. Is it just something that's in us, And some people say, well, it's because you're a woman, you're used to multitasking and doing this or that. And I just, I'm trying to go to the root of things, I guess, is and
Yes.
really resolving what is that? Why is that? Is it a momentary thing? Is it because I've got a deadline or something I'm trying to get done and I'm feeling like anxiety that I've got to take the time that I have to do it? Or
Mm.
is it just simply out of nature and the fact I'm a woman? Or is it just because, it's a habitual thing that I'm doing and
Mm.
maybe not even consciously making that decision, but I recognize it when I'm doing it and I say fuck it, I'm doing it, I'm just reading a text or doing this, and then next thing you know 5 hours passes by, and did I really rest?
Yeah. And did I really achieve much? Because I was like doing five things at once and I got half of them done and all of, yeah, totally.
Right, it's not that I want to have rigidity, but it's some focus, right, to complete a task.
Yeah.
Because
Bring it
and
to
still,
completion. Bring it to completion.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yes, but yet still be in that flow, right? So it
Mm.
might be like, I've got my paints out and some canvas, and I really wanted to paint, but
Yeah.
then I was like, ooh, I'm feeling really good with the journaling, and then,
Yeah.
tonight it was like, I just want to play some music, and
I
so,
know.
I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say bouncing all around, but you're going with the flow, and I may have an idea to do something,
Mm.
but yet or have it in my mind, but yet my body is feeling something else, right? Or it's like, ooh, I need to sit and meditate, or I'm really feeling into this, like tonight we got hit with rain, and it's like I just want to stand here and like listen to the rain. So sometimes I feel too that we are led to where we need to be. And so if I'm led to playing my drums or painting, how can I embrace that moment, right? So I'm here now,
Mm.
and I want to release myself from any other distractions I'm having, so I can just enjoy this moment for where I'm being led right now.
I think it's like allowing when it actually feels really flow, like you're actually in your flow state, you're in your zone of genius, like
Yeah,
this is what lights me up right now.
yeah,
Whereas when you feel like you're forcing it to get a task done, that's when you get your timer out and you're like, right, I'm giving myself 10 minutes and I'm going to do it because this feels like something I really want to get done to get to my goals. So I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to work on this. And if you get through 10 minutes and you're like, fuck, I could do another 10 minutes, you reset the timer, do another 10 minutes, and then you give yourself a break. And then we're human. Like, we are programmed to be rewarded, like, from children, from little babies. We're programmed to be rewarded. So if you do 10 minutes dedicated to one single focused task and you achieve it without being distracted by your oracle cards or candle making or woodcuts or fucking doing my fingernails. I'm like typing here and I'm like, oh, my fingernails. Oh, I might just file that. And then you're fucking off over there, distracted. If I get that 10 minutes and then I decide to do another 10 minutes, I'm like, fuck, look at all I've done. I've just fucking done all the shit on my website that I've been trying to do for like 2 weeks. I did it all in 20 minutes. I'm going to reward myself. I'm going to go sit in the garden and with my cup of tea, with my oracle cards. I'm going to have a little bit of chocolate. I'm going to, whatever lights you up, right? We have to reward ourselves because we are adults now and no one
Oh my
else can reward
gosh.
us. We're adults now. No one else. Self-care.
That's totally what was going on in my mind. It's like, I'm gonna finish this and then I'm gonna roll.
Exactly.
What is this?
Yeah, but it's programming from a child. Like, you do
I'm
a
gonna have the
task.
cookie. I'm gonna have the cookie.
Totally. Well, if you do that task, then we'll go get ice cream. If you tidy up your room, then we'll have, what do you want for dinner? If you tidy up your room, then we'll have pizza for dinner if that's what you want. Like, you're totally programmed as a child to be rewarded with what we want after we've done a hard task that we don't want to do. And then we are the only people that are going to reward us as an adult. There's no one. Even
Yeah.
your partner shouldn't be responsible for that, right? Because
Yeah.
if we're wanting to achieve something, then it's on us. We only really have us. Yeah. So yeah, completing tasks.
So
Yeah.
it's been a challenge. I mean, and there's some days or nights for me where it's just like, wow, that went really well.
Mm,
It's like, I think it's when I don't have an agenda
yeah.
and I'm just in that flow and not thinking about it. It
Mm,
just is like, wow, that feels really good. You
mm,
know, I'm not so in my head, right? Or
yeah.
thinking about it, because then it's like I have some type of set time, or I'm going to give myself an hour, I'm going to do this, or I have this idea or expectation to have things done a certain way or to do this, and when I just let it go, it flows.
Yeah. Mm. When I let it go, it flows. There you go. When I let it go, it flows. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
Mm,
ringing. It's like, let it go and let it flow.
yeah.
Get so out of my head, right?
Yeah.
I mean, get so out of my head, and
Mm.
you
Out of
know,
our own way. Out of our own way. Like, we get in our own way. So
yeah,
I just
exactly.
in my own
It's
way all the time.
exactly that.
And then you could say that when you get in your own way is like it's self-sabotage, right? And that's the ego keeping you complacent because you're like not achieving. You're not going to get into your next level of evolution of the person that you want to become because that's scary, because that's the unknown. And then you're like, I'm going to have a whole lot of other problems that I don't even know how to deal with. So I can't even deal with the problems I have now. Like, if I level up and I get the job, if I set up my business, if I start earning more money, I'm going to have a whole lot of new problems that I don't even know how to deal with. And I don't even know if I can do it. Right? And then you talk yourself out of it. So that's your
With
self-sabotage is like,
self-sabotage, yeah, even before it happens, right?
yeah,
Without even giving it a chance to do its thing. It's
yeah,
like in essence, we're shutting that door, right? Where
mm,
that door is shut,
yeah,
and I'm not going to go there because of all these possibilities
yeah,
of what it could be, but we don't even know.
yeah,
It could be
exactly.
something great and something beautiful that is like with none of those problems attached to it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
It's
Mm,
it's our mind and it's our thoughts, And so, you know, trying to understand like why that thought is there, or what is invoking that thought, as to why am I looking at things that way? Or,
Mm,
you know, I wouldn't say gravitating towards, you know, all of these, I don't even want to say negative, but all these things that it could be that would be a problem. You know, why am I
yeah.
affixing a problem to it when
Mm,
it's
totally.
like it hasn't even happened yet?
Exactly. It's insane. It's insanity, right? But then, yeah. But it's that preconditioning, right? It's like it's that whole preconditioning of continuing to do the same routine, even if you move into a new house, or move, or change jobs, or change city, or move country, move to the other side of the world, move to the fucking moon. You would still eventually find yourself falling into the same routines, even with brand new people, right? It's like you are the preconditioning, and that vibration of you is creating your reality. So it's like, doesn't
Mm,
matter where you go. People
mm,
are going to reflect the same shit back to you, until you change
mm.
yourself. That's the hard part. No, it's not. That is the complex, but definitely doable part.
It definitely is. I mean,
Mm,
but somewhere that conditioning, whether it was from a parent or an elder, or this is what you do things, you know, you get up, you work,
mm,
because there's some steadiness in that. There's some comfort in that, some type of reliability. And don't change that, because you need to, you know, you need to work, you need to do that. You need to just say, you know, sometimes you just gotta let it go and let it flow.
yeah.
It always comes around just as it should, right? In its time, in its place, and
Mm,
sometimes when you're not expecting it. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah, but it's
I'm like,
been lovely chatting with you, sister, and I thank you for staying up so late with me tonight.
oh yeah, and you're up so late too. Yeah. You're up way later
Yeah,
than yeah.
yeah. Signing off this Witchy Talk episode.
Until we meet again in this space where we expand our consciousness together. Ciao for now.
Later.